Yeah, I'll kind of show you how to get started. Hey, how you doing? No cats. No cats. What's that? Oh, that's even cuter. There we go. So the first step is, especially because he's a puppy, is to just kind of let him explore the environment a little bit, just so that excess energy out, get familiar with the area. Don't want him to pull too much, but at the same time don't want him to go too far. But want to try to give little input where he can and can't go. The main thing for now is just kind of recognizing what he's interested in. Right? The favorite spot is a lot of fun. This is really like the very first stage of working with the dog, is getting to know them, their interests and behavior. A good example there is a lot of times we always want to kind of control things before we understand what they're doing, why they're doing it. So part of it is kind of the best as you can to build a bond with your pup. Just kind of get to know them, what they're doing. So I'll give you a part I do kind of break them in half. And that way whenever he checks in, he's actually left. So if something tells me he's found something underneath the shelving. Very good there. Perfect. What this does is that it allows him to kind of feel rewarded for just not really checking in despite being distracted in the area. So that's why, especially at first, we try not to give any input to him. Just mostly watch him to make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble or anything. Start by using the leash as kind of like a boundary. So if I wanted to go that way, for example, whenever he goes another way, I just hold the leash, and then that way he can't really go that way. But I don't like guide him or pull him or anything, because I want him to slowly figure out that the leash pressure just lets him know that he's going the wrong way. Hey, how you doing? You can go down here. And a good, pretty normal thing to note here is just how many different scents and things that we got a free kibble of some sort. Is how many different scents and distractions and things that we can't see that he can find and see. whenever he checks in on us, it's good to reward that because he's got so much else going on and supposedly calling his name too, you know. Can't physically hear it, but he can smell it, and that's what's driving him forward. Pretty normal response to sudden noise there from the other side. If he got freaked out anymore or was really cautious afterwards would be something to note. A good example would be like the other boarding pups that had cleaning the floor for him, that's for sure. They just opened, so I guess they must have not done the best job of sweeping last night or this morning. But yeah, so a good example is the last boarding pups we just worked with while out on a neighborhood walk. Some of my neighbors have flags, and because the wind was blowing pretty hard, it was making a lot of sound and a lot of movement. It was kind of startling to them. So what we did was just kind of start off at a further distance so that way they can kind of hear it and see it, but it wouldn't be as loud and shocking for them. And then eventually, as they got more and more used to it, getting closer and closer together to them. So that way they can actually get used to things that are initially scary or that they're uncertain of. Good boy. Very good. You kind of notice how checking in, paying attention to us, and sitting, starting to attach that with, the whole procedure of getting a treat, and that's really good. And all that is just that kind of patience and repetition. Not always having to ask and give him the command to sit, but just anticipating it, and so he starts to kind of build those things on his own accord. Especially for like simple things like that you're gonna do pretty often. Shouldn't be anything underneath this aisle, I feel like. See? Good boy. I'm just going to keep the boundary at the end of this aisle. Good boy. Perfect. I'm just getting him used to that leash pressure, meaning that he should check in to see what's going on. Same thing going back out this way. kind of see the benefit of like giving less input, but then more like impactful ones. And that's another reason why, especially when starting off, a lot of times people make the mistake of trying to do too much. And that's why a lot of pups start to just kind of ignore them because they don't have enough of their own free time or will to do what they want. Very good. There you go. And with this instance too, because we started so used to pulling on the leash, we want the leash to be as loose as possible, whenever possible. And that's also why I use the freedom leash. That and we can actually practice longer range free fall. Same thing here. Try to let him kind of go down these aisles without turning left or right. And he's going to catch interest on different things and people. And that's perfectly fine. Good, very good. We want that conditioned response because as soon as he sees something he's interested in, to check in on it first, and then we release him to it. You know, and that's a really good one for puppies in particular because of that impulse control. And it also helps with that frustration because they're not always going to be able to see every person or every pup or things like that they want to. So it's really important that they kind of get used to that disappointment as well. And there's going to be a lot of times when they can, and that'll be good for them socially, but it'll also be good for the development to kind of get that denial as well, you know. Okay. Oh, look at that one. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. A lot of times because he is a puppy too, it's a lot easier to socialize because a lot of people are just, oh, look at the cute pup, and you really could easily be like, oh, would you like to say hi? You know, and that's where you get his attention first, ask him to sit, and then release him to visit them. It's a good habit to get into, like routine life. So after all these distractions and everything, and he kind of had some time to explore, it's been about 15 minutes or so now, I'm going to try to find an empty, quiet aisle and practice either using the leash like we have been, or also his name, which is really important. Give him some time to work with him. Good boy. It's also an easy way to pick out things that you know that he'll like, especially when he like lingers on something for an extended period of time or revisits things. Then you can generally tell. Sometimes people will go to the pet store without their pup and get them some treats they think they'll like, you know, and then they'll probably like, he'll probably like anything, but at least now you'll know what he'll like really like, really. Here it goes. Right. Good boy. Good boy.
It's my last one. a second.
Good boy. Oh, look at the bird. This will be good because it's a new island we haven't been down yet, so it'll have new scents and smells. And especially at first, it'll be good to try to call his name in between his distractions. Like when he's not like particularly hard engaged in something like he is right now, but when he's kind of looking around for something. Very good. Perfect. Goose. Yes, good boy. Very good. Perfect. I'll let you try the next time. Gonna try to lead him down this way. And another thing to note too is you'll notice that I'm not worrying too much about him pulling right now. Sometimes people try to do too much at a time. And so because this lesson is more so focused on just him redirecting himself and listening to his name, we don't want to start adding everything on top of that, like the whole lever thing with the random food underneath the shelves, the leash pulling. It's good to try to have a couple things that you want to focus on per session, so that way, unless later on, then it's good to kind of try to work a little bit on everything, but especially at first, you want to try to be as focused as possible. I'll try to keep him here, and then we try to go ahead and call his name whenever he's in between things. Whenever he... Perfect, there you go. Very good.
And it's okay to do like good food, things like that.
Especially because he's very unresponsive to his name at first. Like as soon as I see him react, I kind of cheerlead him on. I let him know, like that's your mark moment. I let him know that he's doing the right thing by turning and paying attention, or even acknowledging that weird sound is his name. I'll let you do it one more time. Perfect. Perfect. There you go. These are very simple exercises, but it's going to be really important to make sure that he has a solid foundation of the very basics first before you try to do anything else. It's a lot easier to work with a dog when you actually have their focus. That's how a lot of times people get frustrated, is because they keep trying to tell them to do something and the dog's not even paying attention to them. It sounds very simple, but you'd be surprised at how often this happens. Same thing here, just creating a boundary. And then as soon as he starts going a different way, just releasing that pressure. Same thing here, I'll create a boundary and you can also call him too. Perfect. Okay, good. Very good, good boy. Later on in other leash walking exercises, we'll add more direction, more encouragement, things like that. But right now, I just want him to kind of do as much of that stuff on his own as possible. Now that he's really distracted, try calling his name.
The Goose.
Very good.
Good
There you go.
boy.
Perfect. Good. Good boy. Very good. So right there, he's starting to kind of pull hard enough that he's losing traction. So especially in those cases when he stops what he's doing because he's driving forward in the wrong direction and then redirects his attention back to it. Another definitely good time to kind of reaffirm that he's doing the right thing. Oh my goodness. At least we all know everything in here is edible. Have to be careful with this kind of stuff, like when you're working downtown or outside. There's like chicken bones and things like that. Oh no. Right. They'll find everything. So I'll make a soft boundary here or a hard boundary, and now you can get his attention back. Perfect. Good, there you go. And especially with exercises like him, like seeing somebody and running up to him right away, you're gonna have to do it a lot for him to kind of know and understand and kind of get that feeling that he can't do that. Just because he's not even thinking about the process in general when he's doing it, you know, it's just an instinctive reaction. So it just has to happen as many times as it needs for him to understand. Good boy, there you go. Perfect.
Every time we go on a walk, he's person or a dog.
Right.
That he's like.
It's a great part of his personality and temperament, but it's also something that could get him in a lot of trouble too. You know, if the dog is scared or not friendly or, you know, older or doesn't want to be bothered, things like that. Good.
Good boy.
Here's another halfway.
Good.
Some cardboard. Very good. So whenever he leaves stuff on his own like that is another good time to reward him too.
Oh, there you go. Good Goose.
And let me give you a few more. It's also a reason why I do this before breakfast. Usually he would have eaten by now, but I figure he's going to have plenty of treats. So go ahead and...
How has he been eating? Goose?
He's distracted by the fly there. There you go. So now try.
Goose.
There you go. Good.
How has he been eating?
Good.
Especially with other dogs around, like, is he eating even faster or anything?
Nah, he eats about the same speed as the other pups. Yeah, he's okay. He wants like 2 rounds of feeding, but you know, forgets that he was already fed, it seems. And he wants his turn again, but you know, that's pretty normal. So what we'll do now, since he's kind of warmed up and we're nearing the end of his session here, is we'll start to make things a little bit more difficult and challenging for him. An easy way to do that is let's try to get out of a place with food again. Alright, here's a good one. So, let's see. We'll have him go down that way. And I want you to stay here. And then just call his name. Good boy. There you go. So as soon as he pays attention, go ahead and reaffirm that he's doing the right thing. So I'm gonna let him kind of go off into the wrong corner there, and you go down that aisle a little bit. Good. Now that he's here and you're here, go ahead and go back to the other aisle. Good. So now he's just naturally following you. You can go ahead and give him a treat for that. Perfect.
Yeah, at my house I call him the shadow. He will follow me, literally.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so he's gonna want to go down that aisle. So while you go down this one, now that you and him are out of line of sight, go ahead and call his name. One more time. Perfect, there you go. Especially since we're in an outdoor environment, it's good to practice at home between rooms to get him used to kind of finding you through that like sound. Hi, how you doing? Oh, good boy. Good boy. And you can kind of tell sometimes he'll need help in a different environment, and you have to think about how like voice works and him, or sound travels, and him trying to figure out where it's coming from. So that's why you want to repeat at like a pretty steady pace, but not too fast or not too long too. So it just takes some practice as well. So he's gonna go down this one. I'll let you go down that one, and then you can give it another try. Hold on. He's interested. He found a treat. Okay. Now try. There you go. Good. Very good. And that's one of the few times where it's good to repeat his name or commands to help him kind of find you. Very good. You want to try to avoid doing that if you're already within line of sight and he's already responding. That's when you go from calling his name to just, cheerleading him on or letting him know he's doing the right thing. Goose. Yes, good boy. There you go. Yes, good boy. So it already seems like he's more focused on us and responsive just from these kind of simple exercises. And the trick is to just kind of do these every day as like at least the easy kind of warm-up part. Oh, you want to say hi? How you doing? You want to play? Can he say hi? Aww. Oh, that's good. He's very puppy, so he gets really excited. So, you can tell he's obviously excited, wants to meet him. I'm not going to let him while he's still barking and lunging, but as soon as he calms down, then you ask the person if it's okay and then engage, right? It's going to be kind of like the trend is we want him to be focused on us at least, or calm, before just like diving in and getting whatever he wants. And just one of those things that like the more consistent you are on it, the easier it'll be for him to understand and pick it up. So now he just wants to see mom over here. Good boy. What's your pup's name? Aw, Cooper. I like his pose. Maybe you'll get Cooper sized one day, huh? What do you think, Goose? Yeah. Oh, well, thank you guys. So now that he's really distracted, Goose. It's a little not nuts, right? Wait a minute. Goose. Yes, good boy. Very good. And it's good to just, like I said, keep in mind what your situation's like, because I know that he is really distracted. I'm gonna more so expect failure than success, but I'm gonna give it a try anyways to see where he's at, you know? And if it doesn't work, you know, don't rapid fire it right away. Reassess the situation, give him some time to calm down, and then try again. That's all. A lot of times people will be like, pop, 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 pop. You know, they'll either get louder, they'll get more insistent, but like it's the same event that they're trying to work with. Aww. You have any questions on anything? You did good. They're very situational. Like I said, I do it when it's a controlled environment. Yeah, I can like have more control of when the leash is triggered because I'm trying to control when it goes off, you know, as opposed to just running out of leash and then I'm under the leash's control at that point. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't use this downtown where there's a lot of heavy traffic or anything like that. But it's definitely useful for situations like this where, you know, you can control the length and lock it. You can let it go long and work on that longer range recall. I think the main thing, and a lot of times these get a bad rap because when you're using a device like this, you have to pay more attention. People get in trouble because they pay less attention because it's, yeah, freedom leash. Oh, they can go and do whatever they want. Yeah, you should still definitely supervise what's going on, what they're doing, and all that stuff. And then also, a lot of people get rope burns because they don't know how to stop a dog because they're already panicking because they weren't paying attention in the first place. And so, like, their dog's about to run into traffic, and then they reach this, and they end up burning themselves instead of pressing the button, and then also learning how to retract them back in, too. Good boy. Very good. So we'll see if he goes out to that pup there. We'll try again. Goose. Yes, good boy. Very good. Either one. There you go. Good boy.
Yeah, I also have one.
And that's why you practice all those little pieces first for then instances like that when you can combine everything. You know, hopefully you'll only need one or two, like just the leash pressure or just his name. But it'll help to double reinforce when something's really pulling his attention and he's really excited, you know. You'll have more tools to work with. That's also why you don't want to use everything you got all in one shot all the time. Good boy.
So let me check on my
Good
friend.
boy. Yes, very good. So that was good. Okay. Try to use it without leash pressure. Goose. Yes, good boy. So that's, like I said, another reason why I like to use these things. But I can see the pros and cons. So you have to just be aware of those things. That's all. Just like all training tools and devices. Like I see a lot of people with the prong collars on the dogs all the time. Like it's a normal, like leash or collar, right? Whereas now you're just getting them used to having that extra pressure on, and then you need it. That's why a lot of people are like, they're really responsive at first with it, but now they're just pulling constantly like they were before. It's like, well, because instead of using it as a training device, you're using it like as a crutch now at that point. Like this becomes a crutch if you always need it. Whereas, as you can kind of see there, because of the training, if we did drop the leash or he was trying on a vest or something and we had it unclipped, because we have the name recall, it's not a crutch, it's a tool still. And that's why you want to practice and understand everything. Good boy.
Oh, yeah.
gotta get back and walk and feed everybody now. If you wanna say goodbye to Mr. Goose. I'm glad you could join us in this, even like I said, basic session, but it's really important that you kind of see how the start is.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of build and add from there. Oh, good boy.
And has he had any accidents?